So now I'm going to start the headlight swap on this. I'm going to get rid of the factory rectangle lights and go to some early Bronco 7-inch rounds. So I'm going to pull the grills just sitting in there. It's mocked it up. And what I have, I bought some early Bronco headlight buckets, had them powder coated from, I think I got them from Tom's Bronco Parts. I got the trim rings for the headlights, springs, and adjusters. These are all early Bronco parts. And I'm gonna adapt these just like I did on my truck Gilligan. Gonna adapt them into this one. And I think it gives it a much better look. So let me get this all set up and show you how to get this done. All right, now to fit the bucket in there, this bucket is gonna go in like this. You're gonna have one adjuster facing the inside of the truck and then one on the bottom. And it's gonna sit in there like that. What you have is some interference right there with this little raised piece on the core support. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my cutoff wheel. I'm gonna slice this down and then I'm just gonna push that back to get it out of my way. Hit it with some fresh paint, and then that'll allow this bucket to sit on these little adjuster pads and it'll move like it's supposed to. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut that, shoot it with some fresh paint real quick. All right, so I made the cuts here and here. And what I'm gonna do is bend this back. So now if I take the bucket, perfect. So now the bucket sits on all three of those adjuster pads. The center of this hole is still center of where the old headlight was. So everything's gonna line up with the grill, everything just like it did with the rectangle lights. Just we're gonna have a round light now. So there we go. So I'm gonna just leave that. I'm not gonna cut that off, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm gonna just shoot some fresh paint on this. Actually, no, I'm not gonna shoot paint on that just yet because I still have to drill holes for the adjuster. So I'll paint everything when I'm ready to assemble it, I guess. So anyway, that's your first mod of the core support. Cut it, push it back. All right, so now holding up the bucket to the core support here, I need a mark where I'm gonna drill the holes to mount these adjusters to the core support. So that you can see Sharpied, I got a mark there, and I got a mark right here. And those are gonna line up with the two different adjusters on here. So that's gonna allow this to be adjusted just like factory, just like it was all done, you know, from the factory this way. So I'm gonna go ahead, drill these out, but here's the interesting part. The adjuster is a square. So I'm gonna have to drill these out and then use a square file to make this a square hole so these will snap in correctly. So I'm gonna start on that now. So I drilled 2 3/8 holes right here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this file. It's a triangle, straight edges on them. I'm gonna use this to go in here and turn these into squares. Yeah, here we go. All right, and there's a square hole from round to square. Now, take the adjuster. Oops. There you go. Oops. Crap. Let me grab that. I'm gonna have to give a little tap of the hammer to snap it in there. All right, there it is. Just be careful when you're tapping it in because I just hit this and broke it. So I'm gonna have to grab another one off one of my other core supports here. But anyway, there it is. That's one adjuster in. So now I got to do the same down here. All right, there's the bucket. It's in. Now I got to do is add the spring. Gonna hook it right up. Jeez, oh Pete. You know Steven Spielberg. So it's gonna hook right there. You know what I did was I marked inside the bucket, right there. I'm gonna drill a hole so I can hook the other end through it. What that'll do, that'll keep tension on the bucket, keep it pulled tight to the core support, and then it'll let the adjusters do their job. So I'm gonna pull this back off and I'm gonna drill that hole now. All right, so I got the bucket. There's the spring. It's gonna get hooked up here in the corner. So now, the one issue you're gonna run into, so the bucket goes in like this. It's actually made, the light bulb will fit into these 3 notches. So the light bulb can only go in one way. So if I put this light bulb in the correct way, which is like this. What's gonna happen, what you're gonna find is, the headlight is actually 90 degrees off. And depending on the style of headlight that you put in this, it's gonna affect the beam. They're not designed to be this way. They need to be this way to cast the light out the correct way. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to remark the bucket around here, and I'm gonna have to put 3 new notches in here so that the light bulb will actually sit in it the correct way, so the light pattern is correct. So I'm gonna mark that out, then I'm gonna go ahead and grind 3 new slots in the outside perimeter of this. Probably should have done that before I had these powder coated, but I didn't think about that, so that's fine. Just hit it with some paint when I'm done. Okay, so here I have it. You can see, put a new notch there, put a new notch there. So now the headlight sits in there, the correct orientation. So now I'm just gonna take this, just hit those areas I ground out with some paint real quick, and all of this is basically ready to install. Okay, I got the light all assembled, the new trim ring, some brand new Sylvania halogen bulbs in there. I got the spring hooked in, so now I'm gonna go ahead and get it all installed up in there now. Okay, gotta make one quick correction here. The early Bronco spring for the headlight bucket was just too strong. It was actually pulling the bucket off the adjusters, so I used the original Ranger spring. I just hooked it on the bucket here and hooked it in right there by the fender bolt. So now it's just strong enough to hold it in place to make the adjustments, but not so strong that it's pulling it too far that way and pulling it off the adjusters. So that's one little adjustment I made to it. So we're all good. Can bolt the headlight in now and finish this side up. And there it is. She's all bolted in. Got the spring on it. The adjusters work. New stainless rings. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna finish up the other side, and then I'll pick this up after the grill goes back in, get the finished look here. All right, there it is. I got the grill just kind of loosely in there. Still got to mount the tranny cooler, but the lights are all in. I think it turned out pretty damn good. It's a good look. What do you think? Give it a thumbs up.